Hello, everyone. Welcome to Elevating Your Life. So happy to have you with us today. I am just so thrilled to share another fantastic guest with all of you. Oh my gosh. We have with us Christi Clemons Hoffman. She is a fantastic speaker and the host of the Real Life Angel Encounters podcast on the mindbodyspirit.fm network. She is also the host of the Radiate Wellness Podcast, which is in its sixth year on mindbodyspirit.fm. Christi Clemons Hoffman is the host of the Real Life Angel Encounters podcast on the Mind, Body, Spirit. Oh, sorry, I doubled on that. Anyway, she is also the author of the Real Life Angel Encounters book. And we're going to be talking about that today. It's absolutely fantastic. And you are also, Christi, a lifelong intuitive channel teacher, consultant, Reiki Master, whose passion is connecting people with their spiritual team through angel communication, animal communication, mediumship, and spiritual coaching. Oh my gosh, Christi, you do so much. You are so awesome.
I rarely sleep though, so there's a trade-off.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Thrilled to be here.
Oh, well, if you want to share any more of your background, that'd be great. And I would love to ask you what kind of drew you to your passion of, the angels and the knowledge of the angels.
Well, oh my goodness, that is the epic question. So, first of all, I do a lot of things, and it's hard sometimes for people to like remember or wrap their minds around what I do. So, I shorten it to readings, Reiki, and regression. So, I do readings of all types. I'm an intuitive. I've been a lifelong intuitive, not knowing what that meant for most of my life. I really kind of stepped into this in a big way around 2011. I was in my 40s when I stepped into this. And then I'm a Reiki master as well. So I'm Usui Holy Fire Reiki master. I use medical intuition because I'm a trained medical intuitive with Tina Zion. I use that in my Reiki practice. And then I do hypnosis. That's the regression part, but it's more than just that. I do clinical hypnosis to help people get off of sugar and get better sleep and relieve anxiety and stop smoking and that type of thing. But I also do this thing called quantum healing hypnosis technique, which is part past life regression and part channeling your higher self. It's very, very comprehensive. So all of that kind of comes together, but it's all the same thing. It's all helping people understand who they really are, what forces are at play in their lives, and how to find answers to life's biggest questions.
Yes, yes. And when, comes into play with understanding and being aware of and seeing, messages and things from the angels, how important is that? And tell us kind of some of the things we can look for, maybe feathers, numbers. What do you say about, how we can connect more and experience,
Right.
connecting with the angels?
Well, first of all of us can connect with angels. All of us can have these miraculous things happening in our lives. We don't have to be Joan of Arc. We don't have to be Padre Pio. Normal people. And that's the whole point of real life angel encounters. These are real people telling real stories of things that happen in their life. And, a lot of these interviews, the interviewers ask me, well, why do some people have these experiences and others don't? How can we invite these experiences in our life? Well, I think a lot of this has to do with belief. Do we believe that we can have these experiences? Do we believe that there are unseen forces around us? But also just trusting that, all of these things that might happen to us, we could look at them like a coincidence or like a fluke, or we could look at them like some sort of angelic intervention. And so it's kind of an inside job, right? Being open to it believing that it can happen, and then accepting that these things could be face value or they could be something much, much more. And I'm always going to suggest that these are not just coincidences.
Yeah. And to open up and, connect with and, receive all the wonderful guidance from angels. Do we have to accept that and be open to that? Do we have to believe in the angels? Or what if someone doesn't believe in the angels?
So it makes it a lot easier to recognize what's going on if we believe in angels, but we don't have to have belief in order for these things to happen. But, just maybe keeping an open mind that maybe miracles do happen. I think of Dr. Eben Alexander. I don't know if you've met him or know about him, but he had a very well documented near-death experience. And I can't remember when this was. It was a long time ago, but he wrote the book Proof of Heaven. He's been on my Radiate Wellness podcast. He's a lovely man, but he was an atheist and he was a neurosurgeon, very science-minded, and he got meningitis. I can't remember if it's bacterial or viral meningitis, but he landed himself in a coma for 7 days. If he survived, he had like a 2% chance that he would not be a vegetable after this experience. Because that's what meningitis does. It destroys your brain. So he had this experience the whole time that he was in a coma. He was in and out of this near-death experience, not in and out of consciousness, because he was unconscious during this coma, but he was in and out of what I would call la la land, out of the other side. So when he was on the other side, he had this guide that he talks about in his book. He heard music and saw colors on the other side. And so when he came out of this coma with all of his faculties, first of all, that was a miracle in itself. He was not expected to survive, much less thrive after this experience, but he did. And he came out of it no longer an atheist. He's a firm believer now. He's not sure what it is, but he knows there's something more that happens to us after we die. And he started to go back to neurosurgery, and he did that for a little bit. And he realized, wait a minute, what am I doing? What I really need to do, what I'm called to do, is share this experience with as many people as possible. I need to write a book. I need to talk to people about this. I need to do interviews. I need to educate people about the afterlife and the afterworld. And I need to recreate the music on the other side. And he's done just that. He's got CDs out with trying to show us
it. Near-death experiences are so amazing. I've interviewed multiple people over the years, and also a woman that was very scientific. She was run over by a semi, died 3 times, saw the angels, and just, it's amazing. And, it just, to know they're out there, and there's so much. And you sharing these real life angel encounters is just a wonderful read for us, because it just tells you like, wow, yes, they are around me. Is there a particular story or two that you've come across that you'd like to share with us?
Absolutely. I will share one from the book, and I'll share one that's not in the book too, if we've got time.
Yes.
So, in the first chapter, there is, oh gosh, there's so many of them. I'll share a shorter one. So this story is called The Pizza Man, and the caller was going through a really difficult time in college. She had undiagnosed bipolar depression, and she was really, really struggling because she hadn't figured things out for herself yet, but she just knew that something was wrong. And she was sitting outside of her college dorm, smoking a cigarette, and this pizza guy comes to make a delivery to the kids in the dorm. So she stands up, she opens the door, she lets him in, and goes back to smoking her cigarette. He comes out after delivering the pizza. He walks past her, and he gets maybe, I don't know, 20 yards, and he turns around and he comes back to her and he goes, he's listening, you're going to be okay. And that's exactly what she needed to hear in that moment. She hadn't said anything to him besides, here, maybe let me get the door. She hadn't said anything to him. Yes, she'd been in her feels, but she didn't seem like she was particularly visibly upset or anything like that. Who this guy was or how he knew that she needed that message is just a beautiful story. I love that story.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there's another story that's in a recent episode of the podcast. It's not in a book yet. I'm anticipating this being a series, but this story involves a guy who, when he was little, he and his little sister and mom were on a shopping trip in Florida at this big open market, kind of open air, like thrift store swap meet type of thing. Now, his little sister was in a stroller. His little sister was 2, maybe 3 years old, but she was also developmentally disabled, nonverbal. And they're at this open air market and they look around, and this kid, the little toddler, had slipped out of her stroller and had taken off. What a nightmare. Especially, this is kind of like an open shopping area, like a big farmer's market type of thing, with streets running through the market. And who knows where this kid went in a dangerous situation. So they're frantic. They're kind of looking around, and this man comes up. He's holding this little girl by the hand, comes walking up with her, and he says, "Oh, I found Elizabeth. Here you go." And they said, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much." And they scooped her up, were strapping her into the stroller, and turned around to thank the man properly, and he was gone. But here's the kicker, for me at least. She was nonverbal. She was a toddler and developmentally disabled. She did not have words. How did he know her name was Elizabeth?
Yes.
To return her. Oh, I've got goosebumps. Oh,
Yeah,
what a beautiful story.
and that makes you wonder and think about, people that you randomly meet, or, connections that come, like, was that sent through an angel? Oh my goodness.
Right? So, these sightings and these beings could be an actual angel in human form, or they could be a human that was put in the right place at the right time and kind of told what to say.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful story and really has significance and meaning for us.
Yes, it really does. It really does. So would you say that, as well as the angels, being with us, giving us messages, can we also receive messages and signs from past loved ones, from pets? What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, 100%. So, we all have these things that we just know. I see butterflies. Oh, I know that's mom.
Mhm.
Oh, there's a cardinal showed up. I know that's dad saying hi. And we just they might be with our family, all the people in the family just kind of cue into this, but just like we just know, we know. And so my dad died in December 2023, I think it was. December 2022. And it was not too long after that, maybe 3, maybe 4 weeks at max. I was on the phone with my sister and my stepmom, and we were talking about how much we missed dad. And I was driving here to work, to my office, and I get to the office. I open the door to get out of my car, and a feather blows in and lands on my lap. And I just knew that was my dad saying hi. Why a feather? No idea. But we just know these things.
Yes.
Second time this happened, I was here again at work in my office, and I went out to my car to go home, open the door. There's a feather sitting on my seat in the car. Other times this has happened, I was leading meditation at church. I do that Thursdays at 5:30 at Unity Temple on the Plaza. It's a free meditation open to the public. And I stood up from my seated position on the floor, and behind me there was a podium, and on top of the podium was a feather.
Yep.
I was in Venice with my aunt. We were in a little cafe, and when we finished the meal, I saw that there was a feather on the floor next to us
Isn't
inside
that
the
amazing?
restaurant.
I love that. I have to share a feather story. I
Please.
was in my kitchen and I was cutting an avocado, and here came a white feather, and it came down and landed on the plate inside my house, in my kitchen.
Oh my
This was
goodness.
about 2 years ago.
Paula,
I know.
sis, that's
I,
so cool.
yeah, I will never, ever forget that moment.
Wow. How random is that? And I'm sure you're going, what
How'd you get in here? Did you like come in on my shoe and then you've been blowing around? I don't know, but ah, isn't that something? I'll never forget it. And it literally just right in front of me and landed on the plate.
Wow. You can't
Uh,
make that up.
love you, angels.
Wow. Hello. Yeah, every time I find a feather, which I found two in the past 2 days on my property where I was going to be putting my foot. I was looking down where I was walking and I was almost stepped on two different feathers 2 different days. And every time I just go, thanks, Dad. I know you're with me. Thanks
Yep.
for the sign.
Yes. Yes. Oh
The
my
signs can
goodness.
come in different ways. My friend Lisa was missing her mom, and it was her daughter's eighth grade graduation, and they were at a Mexican restaurant, and they were talking about, oh, Grammy would have loved this celebration. She always loved family, and this was one of her favorite things. And there was this music playing over the intercom. It was Mexican music. It was a Mexican restaurant. And then as they were reminiscing about Grandma, Cool and the Gang, Celebrate Good Times comes on, which was her favorite song.
Hmm.
She was there
And boy, they do that with music, don't they?
because it's
Yes.
easy. It's easy for
Yeah.
them to do.
They come up with so many clever things. And so would you say to see and experience more of that, just be open to it. Just
Be
say
open to
yes
it,
and keep your eyes open.
right? And keep your mind open.
Oh, I love that. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that.
Because you,
Yeah, Chrissy, tell us about your podcasts and the more books you're going to write. Tell us all,
yeah,
what you've got going on and what you're going to be doing.
yeah. Thank you so much. The Radiate Wellness Podcast is in its 6th year, and we've done, I don't know, 350, 360 episodes, and that's luminaries, authors, speakers, teachers, thought leaders on that podcast. I've had some really cool people like Dr. Eben Alexander with the famous NDE, Dr. Raymond Moody, who coined the phrase NDE. I've had Theo on there. It's a group of angels channeled by Sheila Gillette. But there's that podcast, and then Real Life Angel Encounters, which I started in 2021. And that's the real people telling their real stories of these random, miraculous, positive encounters. And that podcast just won a best storytelling podcast award from the Women in Podcasting Awards. I'm so excited. It was just announced
Congratulations.
days ago. Thank you so much. And of course, the book Real Life Angel Encounters is based off of that podcast, that award-winning podcast.
That is so exciting. That is so exciting.
And so, in a book, there's no room to put all of the stories from the first season into a book. I mean, that book would be enormous. And we've got to, have additional content on the podcast that people want to go and listen to. So the story is some of the best stories from the book is some of the best stories from season 1. But I'm anticipating making this book a series. And so maybe every year, every 18 months or so, putting out another edition of Real Life Angel Encounters, the book, with some of the top stories from the current season.
Oh, that's so exciting. And what has it been like for you, sharing all these stories and talking to these people and hearing their experiences? I can only imagine what that is like.
It's everything that you can imagine, Paula. It really is. It's beautiful, and people want to share their stories, and they tell me all the time that they get hope from listening to other people's stories, and that, this podcast makes a difference to them when things are so uncertain and things are, kind of heavy right now. We need that lightness. We need to know that we're not alone. And I think angel stories do that. So I've got the best job. You've got the best job. You know how this is.
Yes, yes, that's a good description. Yes, the best job. I sit and think about, all the amazing people I can interview, such as you. And oh my gosh, I am just blessed. Inspired and information and just sharing that. You sharing all these stories is so amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. I tell you, I have the best coworkers in the world,
Oh, I love it. I love it.
and all the people who want to tell their stories too.
Oh my goodness. So for someone that wants to share a story with you, share your website, how they could contact you. What do they do if they want to be part of this and want to share their own little story with you?
Yes, a couple of different ways. So listen to the Real Life Angel Encounters podcast, and in the show notes, there's going to be a link that you can share your own story. So there is that. We can also email stories to me at angelencounterspodcast@gmail.com. And we can go to the Radiate Wellness Community podcast, which is my radiatewellnesscommunity.com is my website. And radiatewellnesscommunity.com has information about me and all of the other practitioners with Radiate Wellness, all the things we do. And that's a home for both of the podcasts. They have, we can find submission links, we can find old episodes, we can find bios for all of the guests on radiatewellnesscommunity.com/podcast.
And would you say a lot of what we receive from the angels, the messages, the guidance, do you think that mostly comes from archangels or
Oh,
just
no.
angels in general?
I'd say in general. Yes.
Okay.
There are archangels and they can interact with us as well. And there are stories of that in the book too, and on the podcast. But there's so much more than just archangels. I mean, just archangels. There's about 15 of them, and they are phenomenal. They all have different jobs that they do. They all vibrate with different color frequencies and different symbology that goes with them. But then there's angels, like all the way up the hierarchy till we get to source. So there's the powers, the thrones, the principalities, the cherubim, the seraphim, all of these different orders of angels up the hierarchy. And then below the hierarchy, we have angels, we have guides, and these are all interfaith. There's no religion that can claim angels because they're equal opportunity. Then there's ascended masters too, and I have a whole chapter in the book about archangels and ascended masters and some of the other beings we might encounter, because there's a huge variety. They're not monolithic at all.
There's just all types. I think I even have pet angels around me.
Oh, yeah.
My beloved pets. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it's huge and it's exciting, and it really is wonderful to think about that
I think
we
so.
have all that around us, all that,
All the time.
so, if you feel like you're alone, we're not alone. We are so
No,
surrounded. And
never alone.
yeah, and it can be here's a quick question. Do you think, okay, someone in this lifetime and then they pass and they're in the angel mode, and then they can move into another lifetime in a physical body.
Right.
But, they can communicate with us and do things in that angel mode.
They can, right? So, it sounds like you're talking about loved ones who might pass over to the other side, and they can have a very real connection with us. I mean, we talked about some of the signs, the insects, the birds, the feathers, different things that they might show up with, but then they can also make appearances. My grandmother appeared to my aunt not too long after she died. My aunt lives in Switzerland. She lives abroad, and she came back to Kansas City for my grandmother's funeral, which was her mom. And she said it was a really awful trip. It was like everything that could go wrong with this trip did. And got here and she was exhausted. Anyway, she was sleeping before the funeral, and my grandmother came to her about 4 o'clock in the morning and said, I just wanted you to know that I'm okay and I made it.
Oh,
And my aunt said she was the happiest person at the funeral because
oh,
she
that is
got
so awesome.
confirmation.
That is so awesome. And that can be in a dream, it can be a message. It's so exciting.
No, my aunt was actually up and walking around. She walked out to my mom's courtyard because she couldn't
And
sleep.
that's
It was
just
4 o'clock in
valid.
the morning. Everybody else is asleep. She's wired from this trip and jet
Oh,
lagged.
yeah, yeah.
And she had this visit from my grandmother.
I love it. I love it. Christy, we have about 2 minutes left. What last message do you want to leave with everyone today?
Oh my goodness. Well,
Ah,
a quick message and a quick plug. So, first of all, know that you're not alone, never alone. None of us are. And we know that we're so much more than we think we are. That's my message. And then my plug is I am featured in a documentary series called Journeys into the Soul in season 2, which just had its premiere last Saturday, as we're speaking, just a few days ago, had its premiere.
oh,
And features different hypnotherapists from around the world doing this spiritual hypnosis to help people find out who and what they truly are, what their purpose is, and what their path is. And so the entire season can be downloaded at journeysintothesoul.com.
oh, that is so exciting. That is so exciting. Oh, I have to share. Next month, I'm being filmed for a documentary series. Oh my gosh. Yeah, they're coming
That's
here to Tacoma and we're going to be filming for a couple days. That is so cool. I can't wait to watch it.
what's yours?
Oh, I don't remember. It's just basically different people that have made a, positive impact in their lives and gone through challenges but made it through it. And yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
It's
beautiful.
Woodside Motion is the film company. And yeah, oh my gosh, that is too fun.
Yeah.
Together, we can all, really make a difference and, be a positive energy in the world. And I so thank you for doing that, Christy.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for doing what you do, Paula, and for having me on. This has been such an enjoyable conversation.
I'm so grateful. Everybody out there, thank you for joining us. Love, hugs, and blessings. Christy, love, hugs, and blessings.
You too, Paula. Thank you.